Hey guys, welcome back to Neutral Gaming, and today I wanted to talk about the dev roadmap that Firaxis released on Twitter. So, just to recap, we are getting two DLC drops this month, March, for the Crossroads of the World, and then between April and September, we are going to get Right to Rule. We don't have a definitive release date yet for Right to Rule, but for today, we will be talking about the roadmap, all of these new changes to Civilization VII. And just a little bit note here, it also says so in a disclaimer in the bottom of the image. This list highlights some of the top priority features that Firaxis is working on, and it's not exhaustive of all the updates and is subject to change. So there's still a chance for some of these new features not to be implemented or to be delayed. And there could also be more surprises for us outside of these updates that we are looking at right now. So let's start with the March 4 update, update 1.1.0. We are getting a new natural wonder, Bermuda Triangle. I've seen some people complain about how some of the new wonders are coming out as part of their DLCs, and that's definitely not ideal for everyone. It's ideal for everyone to have access to all possible natural wonders, but I do understand that for gameplay reasons that could not always be possible. We are getting 4 new natural wonders from the Crossroads of the World DLC, but from the free updates we are getting 2. Earlier this month, for March 4th, we are getting the Bermuda Triangle. I think that's a welcome addition, because there's not a lot of natural wonders that are on the sea right now in the base game. Hopefully, it's still going to be a science wonder. It's really wacky in Civ 6 and how if you go into the tile containing Bermuda Triangle, you get teleported elsewhere in the map. That's very wacky. I am not gonna be mad if they also do that for Civ 7, but I also am open to seeing new implementations for the Bermuda Triangle. The next update here is additional UI updates and polish, which I think is very welcome. I just wish they are more specific on this update. UI is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, complaints that I'm hearing about Civilization VII, even for people who loves the game. I don't think the UI for Civilization VII is great. It's very lacking. It doesn't show all of the information you need, and it's very basic and all over the place. Like, there's a better way for you to display all of this information on the screen in a more organized manner. But at the same time, they just feel so cluttered right now. They're just throwing it in front of you. And even then, they're not showing you all of the information that you need. Any UI updates that we're getting is definitely welcome changes. And hopefully they do more. I just wish they were more specific on what kind of UI updates they'll be doing, but definitely something that we welcome. Next up is the update to Modern Age Cultural Legacy Patent Victory. So right now, people have been chasing cultural victory in Civ 7, mostly because it's very easy for you to get the cultural victory. And right now, it doesn't really matter even if your culture is high. All you need is to have a high production and rush out all of those explorers and get those relics or those artifacts sooner than your opponents. So you don't really need to play a culture game for you to have a cultural victory. It goes against logic that you can win a cultural victory without having a high cultural output. Again, I wish this was elaborated more on how this will be changed, because it's also possible that they'll just move the civic that you need for you to unlock explorers that you can unlock as soon as you get into the modern age, by the way. Unlike the other victory conditions where you have to really research a lot of technologies for you to unlock all of the parts that you need for victory, especially for science victory. Cultural victory right now is very OP and it's very imbalanced. And I don't think anyone likes how the cultural victory is being implemented on right now. So hopefully they make it more meaningful. They make it so that you actually need to have good cultural output for you to be able to get good cultural victory. As much as people like to complain about how cultural victory works in Civ 6, I think it's still a better implementation than what we have right now. Next up is holy cities can be converted. I, for one, also welcome this change. It feels really odd for you not to be able to convert some cities just because they are the holy cities. And in Civ 6, it's always a big deal when you end up converting a holy city of your opponent. It's always a big deal. And now the game just doesn't let you do that anymore, especially since, in history, there are a lot of religions that ended up disappearing. So I think it's very reflective of real world religions for some religions to die out. I'm also not sure how this works out because currently, even though your cities are following your major religion or the religion you founded, when you train new missionaries, they always represent your civilization's religion, even if they are trained in a city that doesn't follow that religion, which is, again, very odd. It also punishes you for not committing to your own religion. Unlike in Civilization VI, you have founder beliefs that applies to your cities. Even if you're not the one who discovered that religion, you're still getting bonuses from that religion's beliefs. But that's not the case anymore in Civ 7. So being able to convert holy cities is definitely something that I'm looking forward to. But at the same time, balance-wise, I'm not sure how good this change will be, especially since some of the crises that you can encounter in the exploration age requires you to have a lot of cities converted to your own religion, and your holy city converting to a different religion could be very punishing. So I'm also interested to see how Firaxis is going to balance around that. Next one is naval units can disperse coastal independent powers. This makes me really happy. One of the heroes that I like to recruit in Civilization VI is Sinbad, specifically because of this. Because it can disperse barbarian camps from away from your home continent, and you don't really need to send out an infantry unit across the sea just to be able to do that. This just is one great quality of life update for them to implement. Next one is Memento Balance Pass. Again, it's hard to make an impression on this one without knowing more information, so I'll leave my comments about the Memento Balance Pass once it comes out. Next one is refinements to army unpacking action. It really irks me with how close they were in making the best army logistics system in Civ 7, but totally botched the unpacking action. Right now, you can either unpack everyone all at the same time or unpack individual units. But if you unpack your entire army, it just doesn't make sense how the AI or the game arranges your troops around your commander. And it's not like you can find out how the arrangement of the units in the commander's army actually affects how they get unpacked. I think it's very random. Or if it's not random, it's very counterintuitive. So for them to refine this unpacking action, that's very welcome again. Next up is the March 25 update, update 1.1.1. So this will be coming out in a couple of weeks from now. We are getting a new natural wonder, the Mount Everest. It's just weird not to have Mount Everest in the base game, especially with how it's one of the most recognizable natural wonders in the world. But I guess it's great that we're finally having one. It just really feels odd not to have all of these natural wonders in the base game. Still, we're getting it for free, so it's not locked behind the DLC, so that's a great thing. Additional UI updates and polish, similar comments from earlier. I wish they had more details to share with us, but until then, I can just say that additional UI updates and polish is definitely welcome. Next one, AI update, scouting and settling improvements. I've seen a lot of people complaining about how AI civs have been crossing the ocean just to settle right beside their capital. It doesn't really make a lot of sense strategically, or it doesn't serve any tactical purpose at all for that AI civ to do that. It just really lives their city out in the open with no defenses. And it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And sometimes they would settle too close to rivers or too close to volcanoes. And they would just keep on getting ravaged by these natural disasters. And right now, since you can't really turn off natural disasters, you can really just lower the intensity. That affects a lot of the progression of the AI cities that you see in the base game. So for them to be able to improve their settling, that's really great. For the scouting, I've also heard rumors about, or not rumors, actually, I've also heard the devs talking about doing exploration automation for scouts. That's one of the biggest changes for scouts in this game. Aside from the two abilities that they gain, you can no longer automatically make them explore. So you have to make them move every turn. So I think if they are working towards the AI of the scouting, then they're probably doing this for the sake of automated exploration. Next one is the quick move functionality. It's actually weird. They don't have a quick movement option yet in the game. I don't really mind because I like seeing the animations, but having this function will make some of the games feel faster, especially if you're managing a lot of units. I've had experience with units having to wait for the movement animation of other units finish first before they start moving. So having quick move will be able to avoid that, which is a good thing. So this one again is a welcome option, even though I don't think I'll be using it a lot. Next one is customized names of cities and commanders. Why wasn't this in the base game? A lot of people love changing the names of their cities, and especially now, since you are forced to change civilizations between ages. Maybe some players want to keep on using names of cities or civilizations from their earlier ages. So now you'll be able to do that. I myself like changing the city names of cities that I conquer so that I could change it to names that are actually aligned to my own civilization. So that's definitely how I'll be changing this up. And for commanders, this one is great, especially since there's no way for you to easily distinguish one commander from each other. So if you have been building them differently for their skills and their upgrades, it's going to be really hard for you to keep track which is which. So this one, being able to assign names to your commanders, assigning a name to help you keep track of which upgrades they have, that's a really good thing, and that's another welcome quality of life improvement for this update. Next one is map generation improvements. Another big issue with the game's sort of prescribed to play the game a certain way, especially in the exploration age where you are required to go overseas and discover distant lands and settle new cities there. It leads to a lot of upward map generations, where you usually have one big landmass as your home continent with a couple of islands to the side, and then copy paste that to the other side of the map. And it really doesn't look good. We want more diversity with the maps that we have. Civ 6 got it right. We have True Earth. We have a lot of different map types to choose from. We can randomize our map selections a lot, and there's a lot of different variety when it comes to the maps that we can play on. But right now, Civ 7 doesn't have a lot of options, and it does make it feel tiring to play the same game over and over, because you are technically just playing on the same map over and over again with minor differences here and there. So that's all of the updates for March 4 and March 25. Okay, down to April, we are getting additional UI updates and polish. I'm not sure if that's good news, because I wish they would have all of the UI updates and polish done before March ends. I mean, that's something that they should have done before launching the game, you know? But if they are just showing this as a commitment to continually improve the UI, then that's fine with me. One more turn option in modern age. Civ has always had this one more turn. It's one of the slogans, one of the rallying cries for this game. It's iconic for Civilization games to have that one more turn. And it's really odd for the game not to have that right now. It led to some speculation that the game was always meant to have 4 different ages and that there's going to be a future age or an information age after the modern age, but none of that's confirmed right now. But there's a lot of clues that hints at a 4th age. It's just that it's never been announced yet or never been acknowledged by the devs yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. So having one more turn is definitely great for the game. Sometimes you're able to complete a victory, but you still want to conquer the whole world, or sometimes you will lose out on your opponent and just want to continue playing or playing tall and then collecting all of the wonders that you haven't built yet. That's very understandable. So it's really weird why the game doesn't have a one more turn option. It's definitely a weird design choice. I just don't know how to explain why it makes sense design-wise to remove one more turn at all. So thankfully it's coming out in April. I wish it were coming out sooner, but we're getting what we can get right now. Next is research viewing. Creatures, again, it's really weird. If you are playing a specific strategy or you are beelining a specific technology to play to the strengths of your civilization or of your leader, you can't do that anymore. In base Civilization VII, you have to select which technology you want to research every time that you finish a technology you are researching. So it's a bit tedious. You'll always have to select which technology you are researching next, instead of just clicking a future technology and researching all of the prerequisites one by one, which is how we've been doing things before. So again, this is another design choice that I do not understand. I do not understand how this makes sense or how this fits in the current design of the game. And thankfully it's coming out in April, but again, I wish it's coming out earlier than April. Next is new resource types and updates to resource map allocation. So new resource types is definitely welcome. It's just that all of the resources in Civ 7 feel downgraded compared to how important they were in previous Civilization games. For example, some of the strategic resources that you used to require for you to be able to produce units are no longer there. Instead, strategic resources instead give you bonuses on how well your units perform, which is, I think, it's good balance because you can always create the units that you want to create as long as you have the technology research for it. But at the same time, it takes away a little bit of that satisfaction in being able to settle new cities where you can gain access to these resources. It's also one of the drivers for conquests before. Like, for example, if you need access to niter, there's none in your homeland, and the only way for you to gain access to that niter is to invade your neighbor. And there's like a countdown clock for you that you have to be able to capture those cities with access to niter before you discover that powder. That doesn't apply anymore. And I think it's also being addressed in this update. The variety of resources that you're getting as luxury or as treasure resources. I think the current pool of resources that we have is very Eurocentric, such that even if you're playing a civilization from Asia, exotic resources all still includes. So even though in history, for example, India's always had access to spices, or China's always had access to tea, they will always be treasure resources, which is odd because it's just very Eurocentric, you're feeling me? And it can be easily fixed by assigning different treasure resources for civilizations coming from different continents. Like, that's how the exploration age is set up right now. It could be an easy fix for you just to assign treasure fleet resources for civilizations from a different continent. So, for example, if you're playing as India, then you should have spices available endemically in your home continent, and then other resources like, let's say, gold or dyes could be coming from elsewhere, from a different continent, and then it's just reverses for the other continent. They will have dyes and gold as endemic to their home continent, and then P becomes a treasure fleet resource for them. So that's a very easy fix for this problem, and I'm pretty sure that there's a developer reason, or there's a gameplay reason why they can't just do that right now. But hopefully this new update in April will fix that. Finally, multiplayer teams functionality. This is something that doesn't really affect me much right now because I haven't been playing multiplayer. I rarely play multiplayer. There was a time during the pandemic when me and my mates played Civ 6 multiplayer because that's how bored we were when we were forced inside our homes for weeks on end. But I haven't tried out Civilization VII's multiplayer yet, so I don't really have a lot of comments here. I'm not sure what functionalities are missing, but one of those requests that I've been seeing on discussion boards and forums and on social media right now, it's the ability to team up. And if you're getting that functionality in this patch, then that's great. So there are more updates to come after April. They listed here. Again, additional UI updates and polish, additional map sizes, auto-explore, modding tools, hot seat, multiplayer, additional AI improvements, and more free updates. That's very reassuring. So far, with how Firaxis has been interacting with the community and how they are laying out their roadmap, it does feel like they are listening to the fans on what fans want to happen in the game. And I've always liked how Firaxis is very flexible. They are open to changing up the game to cater to the fans. They're not afraid in going for what they have envisioned for the game, but at the same time, they're making concessions that doesn't really hurt their vision, as long as that's something that the fan base requests or the fan base wants. So I think their flexibility here is showing again. And hopefully that relationship between Firaxis and its community continues longer, because this is how healthy development, I think, feels like post-launch. Again, in an ideal world, all of these updates were part of the base game, right? But because we live in an imperfect world, we are getting these features, these mechanics, these fixes post-launch. So if we had to live in that situation, I think this is how you should be doing it. So thank you to Firaxis and to AKS for listening to the fans and for being this transparent with your developmental roadmap. But if Civ 8's coming out in a decade from now, I hope it doesn't look like this. You know, I could wish that they'd be better in launching a game that is complete at launch, right? But I'm not sure if we'll be getting there anytime soon. But yeah, those are my thoughts for this Civ 7 developmental roadmap. Let me know what your thoughts are for these changes, and let me know which ones you love, which ones you hate, and which ones you look forward to the most. I already appreciate you watching this entire video, but if you want to continue supporting, leave a like and then leave a comment on what you think about this new development plan. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed watching and hopefully you learned something new from my commentary. I'm currently working on another Civ 7 long form video. And if you want to see that when it comes out, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. And until then, I'll see you again next video. Stay frosty.